I was born in Iran, raised in France, and raised with a single mother. So just very average entry level kind of raising. No rich background or anything else. And we traveled country to country with the hopes of one day coming to the United States. And then I was about 12, 13 years old when we finally made it here with no money in our pocket, and just kind of starting fresh again. And very early on, I spent a lot of my younger years trying to get a green card. So I was notoriously known as an illegal alien, trying to just go to school and do whatever it took. And very early on, I found a side job that just kind of got my foot in the door, even though I wasn't necessarily legal, as a telemarketer. And telemarketing was like shit job. Nobody likes fucking telemarketing. Who wants to be a telemarketer and get hanged up on, right? My first customer was actually, his name was Mr. Blackdick. This isn't a joke. It's serious. It's like fucked up, but it is what it is. So I call these people. I'm trying to sell them roof, siding, and everything else. And then I really suck at it. I wasn't very good at speaking English either. It's just completely sucked. But I realized really quickly, I was like, shit, I can't lose this job because I don't have another job. I can't even work at McDonald's. Even if I want to work at McDonald's,
you
couldn't.
couldn't.
So I was like, I got to make this work somehow. So I started learning and teaching myself how to sell shit. And we don't have the internet then and stuff. And I just started kind of watching other people sell shit and how are they having success. I started talking to sales guys. How are you guys pitching? Your clients because my job was to set appointments. Their job was to close the lead. So I was like, how are you guys doing that? So I'm learning kind of the concept of selling roofs and siding. So long story short, I do really well. And I go from $12 an hour to $2,500 a week. And this is a 15-year-old kid.
Wow.
So while I'm doing that, I start a side business washing cars. Real early in my life, just doing $5 car washes right outside the same building during my break, just to make extra cash. But what ends up happening is that little business just doing car washes ends up kind of taking a lot of time, and I can't really do it because I'm doing this telemarketing gig. So I hired one of my immigrant friends that also couldn't get a job, and I didn't want to bring him in the office because then they'd start suspecting what the fuck do I know 14 Mexican kids, green cards, it's kind of weird. So I was like, okay, so you go wash cars, and I'll go work, and then I'll do the phone calls because I'm in a phone call center anyway, so it's easy for me to pick up the phone, and I had a cell phone then. It was a giant fucking Nokia phone. But I was like, I'll do the calls and I'll tell you, what to do downstairs and who needs a car. So I just started putting out flyers, and I started a side business doing that. No big deal. Long story short, I finally get a green card, and I keep getting promoted at work because I was doing really good selling. I'm making $10 grand a month selling roofs and siding. I'm a kid. I end up becoming a general manager of that place, and I manage a few locations. And I get to this place where I suck in high school. I'm about to go to college. I still graduate high school. I'm about to go to college, and I'm like, I can't work 80 hours a week. And go to college. It's impossible. And obviously, having a Persian mom, it's like you have to go to school, and you got to be a lawyer, a doctor, and you're making millions of dollars. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be a doctor or a lawyer, but fuck, I'll go to school.
And $1 million.
So I go to school, right? And I kind of have to figure out what to do in my job, but I can't do both anymore. So I'm going to school one class a semester, which is pointless. And then I was like, listen, I'll go to school. I just got to get another job. So what I do is I was like, I got to figure out a way to get another job. And one of the, biggest thing for me was that I was already making a lot of money, and being that young, well, you don't have a degree, you're young, people don't take you seriously, and my experience was the reason I was making money, right? It wasn't because I was someone special. But I couldn't use that anywhere to be like, hey, just pay me $80K a year out of high school. I just need a salary match while I work less hours and go to school. So I came up with this thing where I said, well, the only place where I can really have a higher ceiling, might still take a pay cut, but I need to go work in a bank. I was like, because in a bank, you can learn real estate, you can learn lending, you can learn a lot of different things. So I said, well, it's a good place for me to go learn, and it's a prestigious job where it's like, oh, you're in a bank, you wear a suit, and it's only 40 hours a week. So it's it's fantastic. But then I was like, now I got to convince someone to hire me in a bank, because I'm 18, you don't get in a bank, right? So, and if I was a teller, I was gonna make $10 an hour, and we're talking about a kid that's making $80K. So I gotta balance that. $10 an hour ain't getting you anything. So I started figuring out, well, maybe what I want to do is maybe be a manager at a bank. But most people would say you can't be a manager at a bank when you're that young, right? So again, all of these odds always against me, and so I figured out how to actually go work in a bank, in a supermarket bank, really early on, and I figured out exactly how to get the manager to hire me in the manager training program. So I convinced this oldest dude to actually hire me as a manager trainee in a bank at the age of 18. And I was about to turn 19. So by the age of 19, I was actually in the bank, technically with a manager title. And so then I started, and by then I wasn't illegal anymore. You know, like I had a green card and all that shit, so I could actually like get to work normal and, you know, work in an actual bank. But the years went by. Every year I kept getting promoted. I kept working my ass off. And I quickly learned I didn't want to go to college anyway, so I dumped that shit. And I ended up going straight to work. Like I still got back on that work ethic of working 80 hours a week. And I was on a salary, so I wasn't even getting paid for it. But I was like on this work ethic where I was like, I'm just going to get promoted. I'm just going to get promoted. Fuck it. Like I just keep make more money for being there, you know, higher salaries, better positions. And I kept getting promoted. And then by 23, I became the youngest VP ever elected in that bank. So it was great. And then I've done a lot with like the HR training program, where I created a lot of programs for the bank, and also did quite a lot with managing multiple offices, also managing and creating airport banking for that bank. So there's a lot of stuff I came up with. And then in 25, they forced me to resign. So in a good way, they told me to get the fuck out of there. And there's just, so I can't sue them. I had forcefully get the fuck out of there and resign, right? And by then I was like, okay, now I was already doing real estate. I was making massive money in real estate. So I had a lot of cash saved up. Okay. I had a $250,000 salary by the time I left. So I was doing well. You know, I wasn't poor. I wasn't like out of a job and like wondering how I'm going to pay my mortgage. It wasn't that kind of shit. Yeah. I already had a house when I was 18. I already had my cars. So like I wasn't like someone who's learning true life. I was already doing well. I already had a Lamborghini. So things were going well, you know? Yeah. But then it's kicked me the fuck out. So I had to come up with, like, what am I going to do now? What do I want the rest of my life? So what really happened to me when I got kicked out was that I lost my purpose. It wasn't that I lost money, because I didn't really give a shit, and I was already making a lot of money in real estate anyways. I cared because I thought I was going to be a banker for life, because I was really good at it. Yeah. And I was really fucking good at leading people. And then they just kicked me out. So I didn't know what I wanted the rest of my life to look like. When an 18-year-old or someone's watching this, like 15, and it's like, fuck, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm here to do. Well, that's normal. Like, why would fuck would you know what you're here to do at 15? You know, you barely lived 5 years. You still didn't know what the fuck was going on 10 years before that. But now, you're like there, and you're like, I want my purpose to manifest itself in 5 years. So it's not going to happen. Your purpose manifests itself when you figure out where your talent and your skills are, and how to better them. And then you accept that your confidence is built upon practice. So you're constantly working and doing the things that you're skilled at and you're talented at, until you can manifest your confidence enough to the place where it projects out to the world. But the key is, when I was younger, I didn't care what my purpose was. Okay. I was poor, I lived in basements, and I didn't like it. And the point was, I had two choices. Either A, I sit my ass at home and hope that some fucking magic wizard comes out and blesses me like Final Fantasy the game, and it's like suddenly I got a big ass sword and I'm going out and killing people. Or B, I go to work. So 14 or not, I was like, fuck, ain't nobody gonna buy me shit, so might as well go and fucking do something. Yeah. And all I knew, I didn't know what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. And I couldn't even get a job, even if I wanted to work. I was like, yo, let me flip burgers, what the fuck out of here. I was like, okay, so I can't even flip burgers. But what I knew was, I wanted money, because I knew I didn't want to be poor. So my entire first 10 years wasn't built around, let me come up with this business strategy or anything else. I said, I just need to work. Mm-hmm. Because if you ain't doing shit and you don't know what to do, well, you can sit there and figure out, I don't know what to do, and I'm fucking stuck here, I'm holding my dick in my hand, or you can go out there and work. Yeah. And if you work, well, guess what happens? A, you're gonna get paid something. Fine, $5 an hour, better than zero. Of course. Eventually, that job might open another job. So you'll get paid $10 an hour. Eventually, you might get really good at it, give it $20 an hour. And you know what? Even if you look back 2 years later and you're like, fuck, I'm only making $25 an hour. Well, if you hadn't done shit for 3 years, you wouldn't even be making $5 an hour. So at least you're making $25 an hour. You're closer to at least getting to a place where you make some kind of serious money. I mean, how many people I'm sure are watching this are like, well, I'm a cashier at a fucking store. That's not my purpose. But it doesn't have to be. The point is, even if being a cashier at a fucking store is where you work, every day you go to work, you have a chance to be the best cashier at that store. And why would you give a shit when you're not obviously going to be a cashier for life? Because in that same fucking store, you have a general manager who's making $200K a year. Damn. You have an assistant manager that's making $90, $100K a year. You have salespeople that are probably making 50, 60. Yeah. And you have people that are storing shelves that are making 30. So even at that shitty store, which you hate working at, still has a progression plan. Mm-hmm. And so you can choose to be the best cashier and spend the same 40 shitty hours of work. And hopefully next year you're spending it making twice as much in the same shitty store. And next year, twice as much again. And eventually you turn around and you're like, I have leadership experience, I'm managing a staff of 80, and I run this huge store which requires a master's degree according to the fucking application. Mm-hmm. And I've done it in 7 years. Well, in 4, someone comes out of school, and what did it have? Nothing.
Nothing. Mm-hmm.
So at least you work 7, you gain 7 years of pay, and now you're in a position which most kids, even 5-10 years outside of school, with a degree, won't be able to get without 10 years of work. And you have experience, you worked inside everything. And all that started that is that you worked as a cashier. And the only thing you promise yourself is that I'm not going to allow my circumstance, which is what I talk about in my book a lot, circumstance to drive my outcome.
The biggest mistake is that most people are chasing the money, but they're not actually chasing the value and what they can bring. But what's also one of the what's actually one of the most successful qualities an entrepreneur needs to have?
Self-accountability. Plain and simple. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, then you fucking do it. Don't matter what it is. If you set a goal and you say, listen, we just started this thing called shit, college doesn't teach, we're going to get 1 million views by tomorrow morning. You fucking do that. Period. That's it. There's no other, like, if you're going to fucking say it, you do it.
That's it.
Or don't fucking say it.
Yeah.
Don't be like, oh yeah, hey, we're gonna buy this plane. Don't say that shit. Because if you're not gonna do it, then don't say it. Why so many people feel, oh yeah, mark my words, tomorrow we're gonna be rich, we're gonna buy an Lamborghini. Okay, tomorrow morning comes, where's your Lamborghini? Nowhere. What happens is you start triggering in your mind all this bullshit you feed yourself. So what happens is you don't take yourself seriously anymore.
Okay.
But when you're serious about yourself and you're like, listen, I said I would do this. This is a quality to have. This is quality to have in business. I tell a customer, listen, this is going to happen by Monday. Saturday, it doesn't look like it's happening. I'm getting on a plane. I'm going to make it happen. I don't care how much money I lose because I promised you it's going to happen by Monday. Doesn't matter. You're going to leave me as a customer and tomorrow the loss is too much more. I promise you something's going to happen by Monday. Shit ain't going to happen by Monday. That's it. There's no there's no alternative. There's no like backup plan. Unless I told you, unless I said maybe I'll deliver by Monday, but I'll call you Sunday and I'll see if I can. But if I said shit's gonna happen, when I was a kid, I told myself, I said, I'm gonna have a Lamborghini. You know, like, I actually told myself I was gonna have a 911 turbo before I'm 30. You know, and I was like 20, I think 22 when I bought my first 911 turbo. But I promised myself I would do it. And then I immediately did it. And then I said, well, within a year I'll have a Lamborghini. And guess what happened? If I like a month before the year was up, I wasn't financially okay to do it. Like, meaning I didn't think it was a good move.
Okay.
But I said, I can't lie to myself. I promised I would do it. It's gonna make me uncomfortable. I don't give a fuck. I promised I would do it. I'm not a clown. I told fucking myself and people that I would have a Lamborghini. I'm gonna have a fucking Lamborghini.
What advice do you have to them if they want to become an entrepreneur but they don't know where to start? A lot of these people have these great ideas, but
you don't need to be an entrepreneur. That's the key. It's like love. You don't need to seek it.
Okay.
You don't, if you go out there, let me tell you why most people never find love. They go out there, they're like, I want to fall in love. I want to have a girlfriend that turns into my wife. I want to be in love and all that shit. And I'm like, holy fuck, man. It's a fucking commitment with yourself. You're not gonna So you're like, I want to be in love. It's like, okay, great. What is love? Then they're like, listen, love is like going to the movies, holding hands, and walking on the beach, doing this. So here's what happens. Love in your head becomes this predetermined notion, like of this fucking movie-like thing in your head. And you're like, this is love. Now you're gonna meet a really sick girl that you love, like that you really could love. But in your head, what love is doesn't match what the fuck she's doing. She's like making you meals and shit, and you're like, I don't really care. I don't like this kind of food. But you're not paying attention to the signs, right? So what ends up happening is to love for you is like walking on the beach, which isn't really love. It's because you associated that with love previously.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is now you have this predetermined notion. So you're blind to everything else going on around you that really could allow you to fall in love. But now you're like, I have this predetermined notion of my life and this jet. Just like success to most people is like, I got a jet, I got a car, I got this. So it's predetermined. So you can't follow through on that because it's not how success works. Success is progressive. It's not overnight. You don't wake up with a jet and a car just because you did well in your business. Even when you do well in your business, year 3, year 5, year 10, you're not going to wake up to a jet. That's a process. Get it? Like, so what I'm saying is all of these things are process driven. But people associate the reward, you know, they put it right there. So if you don't have a great way to facilitate change for people, if you don't have ideas on how to solve problems that people have that are worth solving, then don't. Work somewhere. Start a business. That's simple. I sell a shirt, make X amount of money. Learn the skills. You don't need to change the world when you don't know what to change.
Okay.
Change yourself first, and eventually you'll figure out, and the world will give you indications on what your talents are.
Yeah.
And your talents will align with something you see, because your perspective opens when you figure out your talents. You look at everything from your perspective of what you're good at, and you're like, damn, I'm a great IT guy. And that fucking thing over there, we gotta fix that. You know, like, because that's, I see this problem, and nobody at the DMV is fixing this shit, and I can fix it with 3 keystrokes. Then fix it, right? Like, what I'm saying is then you can do something.
Yeah.
But when you don't know what you're good at, when you don't know your talents, and you're like, I don't have an idea, but I want to be an entrepreneur. No, you don't want to be an entrepreneur. If you don't know how to pick up women, or how to interact with women, or how to have great relationships, you don't need to worry about, I want to be in love. Let love happen based on what's happening. So live in the present, don't live in the future. Because, you know, like, people are like in the future, they live fucking for tomorrow. And you're like, you're here today, work today. Like, today, go get a job. Make someone. Oh no, I'm a man of my own. What the fuck are you talking about? You ain't got no money. How are you a man of your own? You still go to your parents. You're like, give me like $50.
Yeah.
But I'm a man of my own, right? I don't want to work for other people. Why not? What's wrong with working for other people? If I wouldn't have worked for other people, I wouldn't have had all the money in the world to do all the shit I'm doing today. So I had to work for other people to A, get to know myself, and B, make enough money to be like, hey, I have some capital, and you know, I'm comfortable. I've learned all these skills. I understand what I'm good at. I understand what I'm not. I'm gonna go start another business. You know?
Damn.
Wow. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. What's wrong with working for other people? We all need to fucking work somewhere to learn how to work. Like, most people are more concerned about what they're gonna get from their work than they're concerned about how to work. Like, do you have a work ethic? Do you want to work 80 hours a week? Have you worked 80 hours a week to know what it feels like? You know, they're bitching like, oh, there's no jobs in the world. You're like, no, there's jobs. There's just not the jobs you think you're entitled to. And they're like, well, I want a nice job.
Yeah.
Do you have nice skills?
What do you think is the most important lesson that can't be taught in school, such as the work ethic, such as something that you just have to experience, something that cannot be taught by a teacher pointing, do this, do this, do this, and this is why?
Awareness.
Awareness?
Just plain and simple. Just understand how things work. Don't wait for someone to tell you how things work. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to how you look when you wake up in the morning. Pay attention to how you look. Like, do you look like shit? Did you shave today? Do you look good? What are people saying about people who look like you? You fix your hair, took a shower, how are you dressed? What does your dressing say about who you are? Like, all of these things. Like, pay attention to yourself. Most people are always paying attention to what's going on around them. They never pay attention to what they're saying about the world, you know, through that reflection. Nice and simple.
Wow.
Dan, that was an awesome time. Thank you so much for
My
being on
pleasure,
the
buddy.
show.
Thank you so much. Learned a whole
You're
lot.
welcome.
Where can everybody who's interested in you and your material and your content, where can they follow you at? Where can they reach
So
you?
they can go to my personal site, PejmanGhadimi.com, which then has all my companies listed. But for people listening, definitely check out SecretEntourage.com and SecretAcademics.com. That's where you'll learn a lot about entrepreneurship. You can also pick up my book there. We have a lot of opportunities on Secret Entourage where you can get the book free, you know, get an audiobook and everything else. So you don't, even if you don't have money, don't use that excuse to not do anything. And then ultimately, if people want to learn about exotic cars and watches, I mentioned that earlier, Exotic Car Hacks and Watch Conspiracy as well are 2 places they can go. So that's ExoticCarHacks.com and WatchConspiracy.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And guys,
my pleasure, guys.
stay tuned to Shit College doesn't teach you.
Be sure to subscribe and like the video if you enjoy the
Down
content.
below.
And we'll have all of Penjman's stuff in the description.